Matthew, through the first quarter, it looked like you might be able to give the Swans a bit of a fright there, but once they put the foot down, weren't able to go with them, or where did you see it sort of playing out after the first break?
Yeah, there were moments early that it looked like the game was going to be a cracker, but they got once they got their mojo going, they really did punish us off the intercept. Their speed, the way they blitzed off, that ground ball intercept, and just we weren't able to go with them, unfortunately. And then for a period in that first quarter, I thought we were in a lot of trouble. I think it was 6-1, and but to the guys, as we know, we see it from them week in, week out. We recover and we fight back, and but when you're up against the best side or the benchmark side in the competition, you can't have a period like we did in the first quarter and think you're going to win the game of footy. So it's a little bit of our best. The difference between our best and our worst is still too large. That gap's still too large.
And you've, through the run-in, I guess you've had 5 games against some of the most informed and the top teams in the competition. Do you feel like you've got a good indication of where that gap is and where you need to make up those improvements? Yeah, we do. I think we played 7 of the top 8 in the last sort of 7 or 8 rounds, 7 rounds. So it's been a really challenging run home, but we know where the gaps are, and there's a lot of work-ons in that. So when we look at our season this year and how do you rate our season? Well, it's a really disappointing one for us. We didn't hit an expectation that we came into the season. Our expectation was to play finals footy, and at the moment we're not playing. But as I mentioned, when you do play the best teams towards the end of the year, and the best team in my opinion tonight, you get a bit of an idea of where that gap is. And I think it comes back to some of the consistency of how you perform. And so we've got some work to do now.
How are the boys after today?
I think they know tonight wasn't their best. It wasn't our best tonight. I'm not sure what happened with our ball movement tonight, with our ball use and our decision making, whether that's maybe some perceived pressure or even pressure from our opposition, but it was uncharacteristic, some of the turnovers we made. So I think they're a little bit flat in that, we didn't really finish the year off quite the way we wanted to.
There was obviously, I think, a period in the second quarter where the Swans had scored, 16 scoring shots from 19 inside 50s. Is that down mainly to a lot of the turnovers, like you said, or are you wanting to see more from the defence in trying to stop those opportunities and getting it forward so quickly?
Yeah, it's not one area of our group. So, no, it's not on our defenders. It's a combination of our poor ball use, which then sort of puts us in a position that's hard to defend. There were times in the game tonight too where we didn't quite get our full ground defence right, and Sydney were able to pull us apart. And so we didn't do our defenders any favours tonight. At the same time, I think our defenders would say it wasn't their best game either. But, to sort of scrap it out and try and fight it out towards the end, we know Sydney are now preparing themselves for a final series, so they made some changes. But when the boys in the middle for our opposition are racking the ball up like they were, Goulden was influential when the game was on the line, and he really got it done for him, which was a bit disappointing.
And Riley Philthorpe, he's had a big impact since he's come back, even from a long layoff. Looked a real threat in that first quarter. How costly do you sort of see his absence this year from what you had planned or hoped for, and what can we expect from him, next year if he gets a proper run at it?
Yeah, well, I'm just I'll be fingers crossed that he has the same off season he did last year, and then the run into this season he was outstanding right throughout. He's an ultimate professional, Riley, and he spent a fair bit of time in the gym and working on some areas he had to. And unfortunately for us and for him, at the start of this season, he was unlucky with injury. But we know he'll put his head down and go to work again. And I think he showed how important he is. Playing down there alongside Tex and Darcy, he's going to be really important for us. Also gets himself up around the ball. He's a unique player. We knew that when we picked him up in the draft. It was a decision I think we got right. I think he's starting to show that now.
And how does his form even, does that impact on plans with Tex for the new contract or anything like that, or is that sort of all just irrelevant and
It depends on who you chat to. Texan loves playing alongside him, so I know he'll be pushing. And as we've been saying over the last, what feels like about 6 months, to be honest, the decision around Tex and what's happening there will be decided once the season's done. So we'll start sitting down. We've been sitting down with Tex right the way through, but we'll finalise some of that over the coming months.
Does that sort of depend on other plans that come to fruition or opportunities that might come up over the coming weeks and months?
Yeah, well, it does. I mean, there's a lot. We're extremely busy at the moment. We feel we have to be. It's an area that we're going to be aggressive with acquisition. It's easier said than done, but we've done a hell of a lot of work in this space. It's not new this year, but it's been over 4 or 5 years that we work hard in that space, and we want to keep bringing in, high talent, experienced players that are going to help our group. We are still a young group. When you look at the rest of the teams in the competition, we still sit down the bottom as far as our age and experience goes. And so we're going to do whatever we can to help those guys and add to that. And let's hope it's a busy off-season for us.
There was obviously a lot of talk about Josh and the lead up to this match, and as you mentioned, the players were probably a bit disappointed by their performance. Were you hoping a decision like that might elicit a bit more of a response for the team, that players, even no matter their reputation, no matter what they might be, are wanting to play for the team out there?
I'm glad you brought it up. I was really proud of the way Josh went about it today. So, and you may not know, but he represented our club still at SANFL level, and he went about it the right way and played a strong game against. We're actually playing against one of the top teams back there as well. So I'm really proud of the way he knuckled down and got to work. He has complete clarity, and he and I are very much on the same page about what we expect as a footy club. He's going to be a really important leader for us going forward, and so I think he agrees with me. If he's going to be a leader for us going forward, then we want him leading in the right direction and doing that the right way, and I know he's going to embrace that. Tonight's performance by the boys, I mean, we played against a very, very strong footy team, and we were off in a few areas, but I'm not sure that had anything to do with Josh's omission.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.